Hi everyone, and welcome back to Half Magic Tarot. Today's pick a card reading is your soulmate's traits, so things about their personality, what they might look like, some experiences that they've had. I have 4 piles to choose from. I suggest selecting the pile based on whatever card sparks a memory in you. So for example, I would choose pile 1, Seeker, because the illustration on this card, the person is holding this staff, and it reminds me of when I would visit my grandparents when I was a kid. My grandfather had lived in Saudi Arabia for a little bit, and he brought back this wooden staff that looks very similar to this, and I remember just looking at it by the front door all the time. I will put the pile markers in the description down below, so feel free to pause the video now and select your pile, and let's get started. If you selected pile 1, Seeker, welcome to your reading. Your tarot cards are the 7 of Wands, the 5 of Swords, the 7 of Pentacles, the Sun, and the 6 of Pentacles. All right, my pile 1s. So your soulmate is someone who is very resilient. And in particular, this is someone who has probably experienced a lot of hardships in their life, particularly in their childhood. Maybe they grew up in poverty. Maybe they had an abusive family situation. I'm also getting that they could have moved around a lot or had unstable housing because of that. And even though it was very difficult for them to kind of maintain a sense of normalcy, they have really prioritized their own mental health, their own spiritual growth. And that is one of the reasons why they have been really resilient, and they don't really let things affect them so much. They don't let conflict affect them because they feel like they've been through worse. They survive that. They've survived every bad thing that's been thrown at them before. And so they feel like they have the strength to continue through any hardship. They also tend to be very protective of the things that they really care about, and in particular, it might be of romantic partners. So it could be that if you were experiencing a hardship, or if someone were criticizing you or being rude to you, they would have a real issue with that. They do not like seeing injustice, and so they are very much protective over people that are being unfairly chased after or unfairly punished, because I think that they feel that they have experienced that, especially in childhood. Maybe when they were a child and they didn't really have any, autonomy or power, they felt like they were being mistreated, and so it's something that's very important to them to kind of stand up to injustice or when someone's quote unquote like picking on the smaller guy. With the 5 of Swords next in the spread here, I am getting definitely that they have been betrayed in the past. So could have been by a parent, like in childhood, definitely. I'm getting that they might have some abandonment issues that they've been working through. And I do think that it is something that they've been working on, but it also makes them tend to be a little bit flighty. They're the kind of people that can pick up and just move to a new city and be okay with it, even if they do have connections with people, because I think they a little bit anticipate other people leaving them before they leave. So they do try to get ahead of that a little bit. Like I said, I do think that they're taking care of that, but that might be the shadow side of this person that you have to deal with or look out for. I'm also getting that for some of you, they could have been cheated on in a past relationship or betrayed somehow in a past relationship, and I think that this person was very heartbroken about it, but they're not vindictive. Like I said, I just don't think that this person typically fights back. They are defensive of the people that they care about, but most of the time they just let things kind of roll off their shoulders. They don't retaliate. With the 7 of Pentacles here, I do think that this is something that they have worked on a lot in themselves, but they also feel a little bit unsatisfied in their life sometimes. They're like, I feel like I've put in a lot of work on myself, but I'm just not quite where I want to be. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I get the sense that they're probably very ambitious and they just want to kind of give themselves all of these things that they think will be emotionally fulfilling. And maybe they are, but definitely hardworking, particularly when it comes to self-development, but also in getting in their career. And I don't think that they are especially wealthy or especially like high up in their career yet. So they could be, like late 20s, 30s. And it's not that they are lacking financially. I'm not getting the sense that they are poor or they don't make a lot of money. It's just that they're kind of waiting for like a promotion, or they're waiting to get more experience before they can get paid a little bit more. So it does feel like they're probably a little bit early in their career. I'm also getting that for some of you, they could really enjoy cooking. And with the sun here, they're really good with children. Like they're the kind of person where they go into a party and the animals and the children are naturally drawn to them. They get along with kids really well. They might want to have children in the future. But generally, this person does tend to be very optimistic. And I do think that stems from this resiliency that's represented by the Seven of Wands. I think because they have been betrayed in the past, it would have been very easy to turn into, woe was me, nothing good ever happens to me. But they've flipped it around and said, it's a lesson. I've learned from it. I've moved on. And I've survived every bad thing that has happened to me until this point. And I can, it's my job to flip it around and try to improve not only my life, but the lives of people around me, instead of falling into the behaviors of the people who hurt me in the past. It would be very easy to become pessimistic and to treat people in the way that they've treated. I'm actually hearing, there's this book called Why Does He Do That by Lundy Bancroft, which is a very heavy book. I don't recommend it necessarily unless you have experience with abuse, because it is a book about abusers. But there's this section in it where the author kind of talks about a lot of abusive people will say, well, it's just what I know. I was abused in my childhood. And the argument there is that, well, if you were abused in your childhood and you know how hurtful it was, you know how damaging it was, why would you continue to perpetuate that cycle when, instead of having empathy for your younger self and saying, I don't want to subject anyone else to that. And that is very much the attitude of your soulmate, is I'm not going to subject anyone else to the things that I went through. I would rather just make the world a better place. And that's really beautiful. I'm also picking up that they could be a Leo or have a prominent Leo placement in their natal chart. So Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. And with the Six of Pentacles at the end of your spread here, they are someone who is very generous. They are like, if I was down to my last $10 and my friend was hungry, I would split a meal with them. I would share, a bag from McDonald's or whatever. And it doesn't have to be generous financially. I think they're also very generous emotionally. And again, I think that stems from this emotional resiliency and this desire to kind of make the world a brighter, happier place. So I do see them being really reciprocal in prioritizing, maybe to a fault, the needs of other people, because it's hard for them to fully focus on themselves sometimes. And I think that's part of the reason why the pile marker you selected is seeker, because it feels like sometimes they try to escape themselves by throwing themselves into self-development or learning, which seems counterintuitive because you would think self-development allows you to deal with more of your issues, but it's almost like they are in such a constant state of trying to make themselves better or more lovable or more caring or more empathetic, that it's kind of a way to make them feel like they are worthy of being treated in a way that they weren't in the past. And also I'm getting that they could really enjoy travel as well as academia. So they could have advanced degrees like a master's degree, a doctorate even, or someone who generally was in school for a long time, but because they really enjoy the pursuit of knowledge, they can also read a lot. And definitely I think that they will enjoy traveling with you once you come into union with this person. All right, my pile ones, that is it for your reading. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I put out a new video once a week. Thank you. Take care. If you selected pile 2, monk, or nun, welcome to your reading. Your tarot cards are the 8 of Pentacles, the Page of Swords, the World, the 4 of Cups, and the 2 of Wands. Okay, my pile 2, so your soulmate is someone who is very hardworking, but they also enjoy the work that they do. For some of them, they own their own business, because I'm getting the sense of someone who has kind of gone rags to riches, so to speak. Maybe they grew up with not a lot of wealth, and they just kind of made the right moves in business or whatever to get to the point where they are now. Or they started off with a really small business, like a family-owned situation, and they've really grown it over the years. That is for a select few of you, though. I'm also getting that this person enjoys being in nature. In particular, they could enjoy going on hikes through the woods, up mountains. With the Page of Swords here, I think this person could be a little bit younger than you, or maybe just younger than the people that you normally date. I'm not getting significantly younger than you, because I think this World card here balances it out, because the World to me can indicate someone that's older. So I really think it's around the same age as you, maybe like a few months younger at most. But the Page of Swords is someone who is very passionate and intellectual. They have very strong beliefs, so this person could be very politically inclined, or they're really an expert on a certain subject. Maybe it's a thing that they do at work, or maybe they're really interested in like one specific area of interest. Like, for example, maybe they're really knowledgeable on like a certain historical topic, or they're really knowledgeable on fossils, or a specific film actor, something like that. This person is definitely a problem solver. When they're faced with the dilemma, the first thing that they do is try to come up with a solution, and they really try to help other people find solutions to their problems. This person enjoys like a friendly debate. They like hearing other people's point of view or learning new things. They're kind of a perpetual student type of person, but they are, once they decide on something, or if they think a certain way, they have a certain viewpoint, they are very steadfast in that. They're not someone who you can change their mind or persuade them very easily. They're not gullible at all, certainly. Picking up that this person could be a Capricorn, or a little less strongly an Aquarius, but I'm getting that they could be born near the Capricorn-Aquarius cusp. So Capricorn is like late December through most of January. Aquarius is late January through most of February, so kind of like late January, early February time period might be when their birthday is, or just generally they could have a prominent Capricorn or Aquarius placement in their natal chart, so Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. I'm also getting that this person was born in a different part of the world, a different country, maybe a different state or province than you, because there is this feeling that they have had to travel to come into contact with you, or maybe you've had to travel. It feels like you meet somewhere that is different from where both of you were raised, perhaps. So if you moved recently, maybe that's a good sign, because with the World here, I definitely think that they are someone who has traveled and moved around. Maybe they're living abroad. And I'm also getting that this person is very zen for the most part. They really, I get that they're spiritually inclined, and because of that, they really try to practice like gratitude and not get upset or overwhelmed by the things that they can't change. And I get that's something that they really try to do and aspire to do, but maybe doesn't necessarily come naturally to them, with them being this Page of Swords figure. Because the Page of Swords is someone who can be argumentative because they are so headstrong and they know exactly what they want. But it seems like this person really tries to combat that trait in them that kind of wants to argue when things don't go their way or when someone disagrees with them. And I think that's something that they've learned as they've grown older. This person really values like traditional milestones. So, for example, they're a big believer in like you go to school, you go to university or college, you get a job, you get married, you have kids, like in that order. They really put a big emphasis on kind of the traditional ways that a relationship is thought to go. So they could be really big into chivalry. If so that means if they are a man, for example, they really believe in like opening doors or kind of paying for things, being kind of the planners. If it's a woman, if you're interested in women, could be someone who is interested in being more receptive or being like taken care of. They expect like doors open for them, chairs pulled out, things like that. But of course, that's a very, binary way of thinking. So if that doesn't feel like it's something that you would want in a relationship, it doesn't have to count. But I do think that they really value like marriage or milestones when it comes to a relationship, moving in together, being exclusive is really important to them. With the Four of Cups next in the spread, again, I'm getting that this person really works to try to be zen and try to calm their mind. I think they might be a little bit of an overthinker, so it's easy for them to let their minds race, or maybe they stay up at night because they've just got so much going on. So it's really important to them to try to prioritize setting aside a time where they can be meditative, self-reflective. And I'm also getting that they could get bored kind of easily, not necessarily in a relationship, but they're definitely someone who needs something to occupy their time, or they get a little bit fidgety. They're not good at staying still. And I think that's because this Page of Swords energy is someone who is always in pursuit of something new, something to excite them, something to make them think a new way, and they're not very good at slowing down. But again, I think this person really wants to live a slower lifestyle, so I think they're actively trying to be more self-reflective, be okay with being still a little bit. And finally, with the Two of Wands at the end here, I'm getting that if you are single, I think that this person is either coming into your life soon, or maybe they've noticed you already and they have plans to come towards you, but it's not quite there yet, like you're not together. If you can't think of anyone that it might be, then I'm also getting that it could just be that they feel like they're now in a place where they're ready to have a relationship, and so they're trying to figure out the best way to go about that, whether that's downloading apps or asking friends to set them up. And so maybe that is how you eventually come into union. But I'm also getting the Two of Wands to me really goes with the World here, because if you look at the dragon's tail, it's holding a globe, and in the world, the person is sitting on the globe, obviously. So there's a really big emphasis on traveling. So this could be someone who travels for work. Like I said, I think that they're probably from a different place than you are, or you have to move to a new place in order to meet this person. They have a different culture, and I'm also getting that they are planners, especially with the Page of Swords here, which can be, like I said, someone who is a little bit of an overthinker, someone who really like when they get in bed at night, they're thinking so much about what they have to do the next day. They're not very good at staying still because they're constantly thinking, what's next? So this person really is a big planner. They like to look ahead a lot. They have goals for themselves. They can be pretty ambitious. And so they're trying to balance this ambition and this kind of fast lifestyle of having to travel, having to work, having all of these racing thoughts in their mind with prioritizing being able to slow down and take care of their health. So I think that will stick out to you, this kind of like seeming contradiction of this person who is very clearly like always on the go, who also is really trying to prioritize slowing down. I think this person probably has suffered from an extreme bout of burnout in the past, and because of that, they're really pivoting now to trying to take care of their health more. So maybe they're eating healthier, maybe they are taking more breaks from work, they're working less hours, they're spending more time outside, whatever it is. And with the pile marker that you selected, this monk or nun, as I said, I do think that they are pretty spiritual in some regard. They could even be religious. But generally, there's someone who, once they put their mind to something, they really chase after it. And I also think that part of their trying to improve their life and their health is by tapping into this Zen energy of meditation, of self-reflection, which in itself is pretty spiritual. Being able to calm your own nerves and connect to your inner self is not something that is easy for someone who is constantly looking towards external things. And so I think this is the kind of life that this person really aspires to. And I think maybe once you come into union with this person, maybe they're really attracted to you because they feel like you have spiritual inclinations, or they feel like you will tell them that they have to prioritize self-care, and they really need someone like that to balance them out. All right, my pile twos, that is it for your reading. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I put out a new video once a week. Thank you. Take care. If you've selected pile 3, Networker, welcome to your reading. Your tarot cards are the Three of Wands, the Page of Wands, Death, the Page of Pentacles, and the Two of Pentacles. So my pile 3s, what are the traits of your soulmate? This is a really interesting pile because we have these first 2 cards are Wands cards. Then we have Death and then 2 Pentacles cards. So what I'm picking up with Death here is that your soulmate has recently undergone a really big change in their life that has kind of made them change their personality or change what their priorities are a little bit, and I will get a little bit more into that. So I think their core self and a little bit of what they changed is that they are someone who is constantly kind of searching for something new and exciting externally. So I get the sense that maybe they might have been running from their responsibilities a little bit. I don't think in a negative way, but they really prioritize trying to find new interesting people, trying to experience new things. And they tend to be very creative, but they also tend to be very flighty because they follow their passions, and that can waver day to day. I'm also getting with the Three of Wands here that this person is currently single and that they are waiting for you in the same way that you're probably waiting for them, because the Three of Wands is a card about waiting for your ships to come in, waiting for all the things that you've planned for your life to come to fruition. And if you feel like you already are dating this person or you're with this person, then I would say that they are waiting to move to a next level with you. Or maybe if you're not dating, but you're like aware of this person, they haven't decided that you're their soulmate yet. Like maybe they're still trying to decide if you're the one, so to speak. I think this person also travels a lot or really enjoys traveling. In particular, they could be traveling for work. I travel for work a lot. I go to, like different cities. So it could be that, like maybe their job means that they have to travel around, or they have some kind of job where it's important that they go to different events of some kind. Again, that's just an option. It could just be that they really enjoy traveling. Maybe on the weekends they try to fly to a new city, or they try to kind of go to a nearby place. They're really into exploration, and I think part of that is their desire for adventures, because this person does have a very adventurous personality. I'm also getting that this person could be younger than you. We have 2 pages here, and pages are traditionally younger people in the tarot, but this person could also just be younger than you at heart. So if you feel like you are, very mature for your age, this person maybe is a little more lighthearted, a little more playful than you are. So with the Page of Wands here, like I said, I do think this person's very creative. In particular, they could be musical. Perhaps they play an instrument, they sing, they dance. They could be into art. They could be into writing, is something that I'm getting. I think that they're probably very good writers, actually, but I don't know that it's their passion. But they tend to be more observational than people realize. they really like to be around other people. This person's probably very extroverted, but when they get around in like a party or something, even though it seems like they kind of light up the room and they're the life of the party, they still are very observational. It's like a study in humanity for them. It actually reminds me a lot of the singer Lord's album Melodrama, where it's essentially an album that's kind of about being at a party, but it's also very observational, and it's kind of looking into why are all these people trying to escape? What is everyone doing? What is the body language that people are giving off? And so I think that's the kind of observational power that your soulmate has, and also the kind of the reason why they really enjoy being around other people and learning new people and getting to see new things, because they really enjoy thinking about all of the implications of the things around them. I really am picking up that this person is probably an excellent writer. They might actually be a writer of some kind, like a journalist, but they might just write for themselves. I'm just getting that they're very good at telling stories. That might be one of the reasons why people are drawn to them, because they tend to tell very funny stories at like parties, or people think of them as like a very funny, charming person. I'm also getting that this person could be really attractive. Like probably a lot of people think they're attractive, and they have a youthfulness about them. Like I said, even if they're not younger than you, it's like it reminds me of the actor Matthew Gray Gouler, who I think is like 45 or something, but his appearance and the way that he presents himself makes him come off as younger than he is. And then we have death. So this is the change that I was referring to at the beginning of the pile. I do think that they had something happen to them where it kind of restructured their life in some way, and this could have been a literal death. Maybe someone in their family passed away, maybe one of their friends passed away, but it could also just signify the ending of something important in their life. So maybe, for example, they got laid off from a job, and then they said, okay, well, I might as well use this as an opportunity to move to a new place, to go after this job that I've always wanted, to try to open my own business. They're very good at seeing the bright side of a bad situation. They're a big believer in when one door closes, another door opens. They believe that it's not an ending, it's a redirection. And I think he will be very pleased with this level of optimism, because they really are not pessimists at all. And, I think they would say, I'm glad that this thing happened to me because it really turned out for the best. It could have even been a breakup. Maybe they were living with someone, or they were going to move with someone, and then they broke up with them, and then they had to kind of reevaluate what they wanted to do or who they wanted to be outside of this person. But definitely there was an ending in their life of some kind that made them reprioritize what was important to them. Like I said, it could have been a death, and maybe that made them realize, like, life is too short for me to be stuck doing something that I don't want to do. And so, again, it's all been for the better, but also something about this change made them really have to prioritize settling down a little bit and taking care of themselves and being a little more practical when it comes to their day-to-day life. This actually reminds me a lot of myself a little bit, because I was living abroad in another country, and I was feeling kind of aimless. I was having fun, and I was, reading a lot. I was writing a lot. I was kind of expressing myself creatively, but I didn't feel fulfilled necessarily. And then when I applied to get my visa extended, it got rejected, and because of that, I had to move to a different country and kind of, restructure my life around that. So I had to find a place to live, find a job, find all of these other things, establish a friend group, and I ended up doing that. And I think that even though it was really difficult and painful, it ended up being a really positive experience for me, because it made me realize how capable I am of doing these things on my own. And it's nice to have kind of a stable footing when you're used to not really knowing what the future holds for you. And so I think the same thing for this person, because we go from Wands, which is fiery energy. It's very flighty. It's very, chasing after your passions, but it's not necessarily stable, to Pentacles, which are all about material realities. So this is about finding stability, putting down your roots. So this person goes from someone who is chasing after their passions, but doesn't necessarily have a place to settle down or doesn't know what their next move is going to be, to having a path kind of carved out for them, from having ideas, from feeling secure with where they are and feeling like, even if I don't know exactly where I'm going right this second, I have a good idea because I know that I have all of the resources that I've already laid out for myself to carry me forward. And that's also represented in the Two of Pentacles, which is a card that's all about balance. And if you look, this person is holding the Two of Pentacles, which, as I said, represents stability, wealth, but not necessarily financial, both wealth and being able to say, I have roots, I have family, I have friends, I have a place for myself, I have a job I like, or whatever. And this person is dancing on their tiptoes. So they haven't lost their joy for life. They haven't lost their ability to be creative and dance and find new ways of moving through the world, but they do have to balance it with these other more traditional things that are ultimately going to be what allows them to continue to move forward. So it feels like this person, whatever this change was, made them get their act together a little bit. So even though they're still very fun, it feels like they're a lot more mature now. And so I think you will enjoy these two sides of their personality. Someone who's very charming and charismatic and fun-loving, a little bit of a party goer, with someone who can also be very responsible and has plans for themselves and has, more of a stable environment than they did before whatever this thing was. And your pile marker, the archetype card that you selected, is networker. So again, I think this person is very outgoing. They could have a job that involves networking in some way. But generally, I think that they have pretty big friend group or a lot of acquaintances. It might be one of those things where you go out with them and it's like everyone comes up to them and says hi. And you're like, how do you know all of these people? But I think they are very well liked. And you could also meet this person through friends or through their network, which could also be like a job. Like maybe you meet them at one of the events that they travel for. I'm also getting, again, that this person is a very good writer. If you look at the card here, this person has a bunch of letters around them. So it could be that maybe when you first start seeing each other, or when you're first interested in each other, there is some distance, but there's a lot of back and forth communication. Like maybe you text a lot, you talk on the phone a lot. Maybe they literally write you letters, which is kind of antique, but very romantic. I'm also getting that they could write you love letters when you come into union. But generally, this person is very good at expressing themselves. They're very eloquent and well-spoken, and I think that will surprise you because sometimes people who are very popular or well-liked have the reputation of being a little bit simple. It's like you're easy to get along with because you don't really have a lot of thoughts going on, but I think you will find that this person has a lot more depth than maybe you initially give them credit for. All right, my pile threes, that is it for your reading. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I put out a new video once a week. Thank you. Take care. If you selected pile 4, Gambler, welcome to your reading. Your tarot cards are the Queen of Pentacles, the Ace of Wands, the Seven of Swords, the King of Cups, and the Queen of Wands. All right, my pile 4s, so what are the qualities of your soulmate? First thing I'll start off with is some zodiac sign possibilities that I see here. I'm seeing Capricorn, Scorpio, and Aries. Most strongly Aries, and then Scorpio, and to a lesser extent Capricorn. So they could have prominent Scorpio, Aries, Capricorn placements in their natal chart. That would be Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, or the months associated with those zodiac signs. So for example, Scorpio, that is late October through most of November. Aries, that is late March through most of April, and Capricorn, that is late December through most of January. So that time frame, January, November, April, could be very important months in which you might meet this person, come into union with this person, but most strongly I'm getting that those are more so prominent zodiac placements that they might have in their natal chart. So with the Queen of Pentacles at the start of the spread, I'm getting that this person is extremely hardworking. They also tend to be very nurturing in a way that's surprising. I feel like this person was raised in a very feminine household, so maybe they had a single mother or they had a lot of sisters, but it feels like there's a very strong feminine influence on this person. And I'm also getting that they can be good cooks and they're very good at like taking care of people when they're sick. They could also be involved in medicine or the healthcare field somehow. So like a doctor, a nurse, something along those lines. I'm also picking up that this person could have long hair or longer hair than usual. So like, for example, if it's a man, it might not be down to their lower back, but it could be longer than the average man's hair. If it's a woman, they could have very long hair. If it's a non-binary person, they could have very long hair. Whatever your definition of long is for however they're presenting. With the Ace of Wands here, I do think that this is a new person for the majority of you, but for a very small percentage, I'm getting that this is someone from your past who you will have a new beginning with. And I say that because we have the Seven of Swords next to this, and the Seven of Swords can sometimes indicate like sneaking away from something. So it feels like maybe there was some kind of spark or fling in the past. Maybe you already know this person and then it dissolved for whatever reason. Maybe one of you literally moved away, or maybe it was just not the right time for you two. But again, that's a small percentage. I do think for most of you, this is someone that you have not met yet, or you've met very recently, someone that you have not dated before. I'm also getting that this person, when you first meet them or when you first met them, you were immediately attracted to them. They probably are extremely physically attractive, especially with this Queen of Wands here, who in my opinion is probably the like sexiest court card. So definitely this is someone that you have so much physical chemistry with, and you might have even felt like love at first sight, or at least very extreme attraction at first sight. But I think because you had this immediate attraction, you were a little bit distrusting of this person with the Seven of Swords here, because the Seven of Swords can indicate someone being a little sneaky. And I don't think that your soulmate is sneaky necessarily. I think that you just have a lot of anxiety about this person because they feel a little bit too good to be true, because you are very attracted to them, but they also are very like kind and nurturing, and they're very emotionally intelligent. So it almost feels like, what's wrong? Like you're kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop when you first meet this person. I'm also getting that they can be very witty, which might surprise you. Like they're very clever, or they are more intellectual than people give them credit for. Also, I think that this person is probably kind of secretly very introverted, but they come across as someone who is more extroverted. So probably if you like surveyed people, they'd be like, oh yeah, they're extroverted. But in reality, this person does need a lot of time to themselves. They enjoy being alone, and so sometimes it feels like they go MIA because they are like, I can't go out this week and I'm so sorry, or I can't hang out, I need to be alone. This person really does value their alone time. And with the King of Cups here, I think it is because this person, despite being very empathetic and emotionally intelligent, I think sometimes because they are so empathetic, it can be really overwhelming for them in public situations because they feel like they're picking up on other people's energy too much, and it really drains them. And also, even though they really value other people's emotions, they don't particularly like to share their own necessarily, because they are a little bit secretive, and not in a sneaky way, which I think might be your first impression, is that they're hiding something. They really value their privacy, and so they don't open up to people that easily. But I think they kind of give the illusion of being an open book because they are so kind and welcoming, and they do like to talk about kind of intense topics. Like if you met this person at a party, they'd be like, oh, so what's your relationship like with your parents? And they might share something with you, but they would never share something that's actually like troubling them emotionally. They've mastered the art of giving people just enough of them to make them feel like they've developed some intimacy, and they have, but they don't really open their heart completely or like share their feelings on everything unless they really trust someone. Because the King of Cups is the card that represents Scorpio. So Scorpios, they're very brooding, very intense. They're also very emotional. They're very possessive. They just don't like to show that until they really get to know someone. And so this person sometimes has a tough exterior, but then it's balanced out by these two Wands cards, this Ace of Wands and this Queen of Wands, which is a very vibrant, charming, charismatic person. So I think this person probably has like a little bit of anxiety where they feel like, or sometimes when they get sad, they go out and they feel like, all these people like me, or they say that they like me, but I don't feel like anyone really knows me. Something that I just heard. But I think it's because they are very protective of their like true deep inner feelings and their insecurities, and it's not easy for them to open up in the way that they kind of portray themselves as being open. Another message I just heard is that this person could have like majored in psychology or something else that has to do with the brain or mental aspects, something like that. Maybe they are in therapy, maybe they are a therapist, something of that nature. Also, with the King of Cups here, this person is very intuitive. They trust their gut and they follow their gut a lot. And because they also have these two Wands cards, as I said, which are very outgoing, passionate kind of cards, this person is really good at taking risks because they have a gut feeling of when something will work out for them. So they're the kind of person where, they're like, oh, well, I don't have tickets for this thing, but I'm just going to go because I really want to and I feel like it can work out. And then later you find out that they not only got in, but they like got backstage or something, like very much like this person, things tend to work out in their favor quite frequently because they follow their gut and they really know how to relate to people and interest people. I think people find this person very interesting. I'm also getting that even though you are kind of attracted to this person at first sight, they are also feeling the same thing. And in fact, they might have the gut feeling that you are like the person for them. For those of you where you did have something with this person in the past and there was some kind of separation, it could have been that they were not ready or they didn't feel like they were ready emotionally to be with you, and that's why it kind of fizzled out. But again, that's for a select few of you. The final card here we have is the Queen of Wands, which is someone who is a natural leader, someone who people really admire, someone who's very supportive of their friends. So probably this person does have a very solid friend group, and people think of this person as being a really great friend, which might be one of the reasons why you're drawn to them, because you're like, they treat the people that they care about so well. But also very hot. Probably everyone has a crush on this person, which may or may not drive you crazy. The good news is that the King of Cups, which is one of the cards that's representing them here, is someone who is very possessive. And so I don't think that this person would be entertaining other people necessarily, because they would go insane if you were doing that. So I also don't know that this person is even aware of how attractive they are, because they can be a little broody and a little emo sometimes. Like I said, sometimes they go out and they're like, all these people say that I'm great, but when I'm alone, I don't feel like I have the emotional support. I don't think they feel that way all the time. I think just when they get into a mood. And they can be a little bit moody. Another thing that I'm getting here is that they can be pretty creative, and also I think that they dress well. Something that's coming through. That might be one of the first things you notice about them, is that they're well dressed. Maybe they have an interest in style. I'm also seeing that they could be wearing like a lot of reds and blues, like lots of primary colors in their wardrobe. One more thing that I'm picking up is that this person could be physically very large or larger than you. So that could mean that they're very tall, they're very broad. It could mean that they're like a plus size person. But even though they're very big, they have a very gentle demeanor. Like this person has very much teddy bear energy. So for the pile marker that you selected, this gambler card, it says a willingness to follow intuition even when others doubt you. That's exactly what I said with this King of Cups. This person is very intuitive, and so probably when they meet you, they already kind of know that you two will end up together, or they really see the potential. And I think that you feel it too, but you might not be as trusting of your gut, especially with the Seven of Swords here, because you are kind of anticipating what's wrong with this person. Like they seem so perfect. And this person might be a little bit hard to read at first because they do present themselves a certain way, but they have so much depth underneath, and they do kind of keep a lot of things to themselves until they're ready, until they're trusting. And this person has a lot of bravery when it comes to following their goals. That actually might be one of the ways that people describe them, is as someone who's brave, someone who's willing to take a risk, someone who's adventurous, someone who, if they decide that they want something, they will go after it and they will get it. And it almost feels like sometimes it almost falls into their lap. Like people think that this person's very lucky. And that's pretty cool. So thank you, my pile force, for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I put out a new video once a week. Thank you. Take care.